Yes, a very good morning to all of you and a very warm welcome to the CA Final Advanced Auditing Assurance and the Professional Ethics batch, right? So, the batch which you have decided to watch the classes for audit is the marathon batch, okay? So, there might be a few questions which you might be having regarding the marathon batch, that like first question, whether the entire syllabus will be covered, whether I need the notes or something. So, one by one, let me tell you about those. Okay, right. So, one, whether the entire syllabus will be covered. Yes, it will be my humble attempt to cover, maximum possible, at least to give you the glimpses or a fair understanding of all the topics, what type of questions are being asked, what is the conceptual understanding required. So, that is going to be our area of working. Okay, right. Then, do you need the notes? So, I already have your earlier version of the book or some another author book, or I'm studying from the institute study material. So that's okay, because it's a marathon batch, whatever notes you've already been studying from, you can continue to use them. And then as the batch proceeds, if you think that, oh no, I think I should get these notes, so then you can separately order them later on. Okay, but not hard and fast, like for fast track class and for regular class, we say that you need to have our class notes, but that's not the case for the marathon class. Marathon class, you could be having your existing notes, even that would be sufficient. Okay, so I have been taking this marathon batch, since a long time, and teaching the subject of audit itself since September 2009, right? So that's the years of experience over there. So based on that, I can, and I've seen so many of the RTPs and MTPs and suggested and change in syllabus of ICAI and amendments coming in, right? So, I can say that more or less I'm very seasoned for the subject of audit. So that is why I can put for you, like for you to develop the gross understanding, to work from scratch, for studying the subject better than that. When you listen to these classes, you get that confidence. And from like, from so many students who've attended this class, I've got the feedback, that this has been the confidence booster. I never used to like audit, but now audit is my favorite subject. So, you are at a risk when you do the audit classes with me, that unknowingly, unintentionally, you start liking the subject of audit. They say at least now we start, like, oh, feel like opening the book, and we develop interest in the subject. We know what topic, we know what type of questions come in the exam, we know how to approach the subject and all of that. Okay, right. So, is it necessary that I should have studied the subject previously, or so because it's going to be a marathon batch or so? So, it is both way. If you've not yet studied the subject, no problem. You get still, you listen to these marathon classes, you get an overview, and then you know which direction roadmap to go further on. And if you've already studied, then probably it's a SWOT analysis for you, or probably a wonderful revision for you to get a better grip of the subject. Okay. Right, this particular recording I'll be using, speaking mostly entirely in the English language. I'm planning to record the separate classes, rather not planning. Certainly, I would be recording the separate classes for Hindi, English, that is called as the English version, also for the students who are more comfortable with Hindi. But when it comes to this particular recordings that you have taken, I would be speaking in English. Okay, right. So it is like, I just want to give a disclaimer of opinion over here कि ऐसा नहीं है कि मुझे हिंदी में नहीं बात करने आता है. I can very comfortably for hours together, talk, teach, speak in Hindi also as comfortably in English also. Okay. Right. So yeah, to begin with the batch, let's have an outline of what syllabus we have, what chapters we have, and then what is going to be the, outline of how the class is going to be conducted, and then we proceed further. Okay. Right. So one, I thank you and I congratulate you at the same time for taking this one step in the right direction for success in your CA final exams, and mainly the audit paper, because many a times this audit turns out to be a monster. Why it turns out to be a monster, you might have heard of experiences of your seniors, or even you might be having your bittersweet memories about audit, that how, auditor, because you take it for granted, that is to be double underlined and bold. Okay, because you take it for granted, you don't give it the required attention to the subject. That is why sometimes it becomes a challenge. Okay, Right, so with all of that, let's begin with our discussion. Right, so as you know, first in audit, the main part of the discussion which we have over there, it is regarding the standards. Right, these standards, right, which are actually called as the engagement and the quality control standards, right, the EQCS, the quality control standards. Rather, in audit, when we study the chapter on internal audit, we have something called as standards on internal audit. We have the list over there. When we study forensic accounting, we have the FAIS, the forensic accounting and investigation standards. When we study the chapter on ESG, SDG assurance, that time we have the social audit standards. Okay, so accounting standards, IFRS, that is one world, and this is another world of these standards over here, right? So we have only the list of these titles of these SIA, FAIS, and SAS, that is social audit standards in our syllabus. But yeah, in our syllabus, one major part of our syllabus is the standards, right? The engagement and the quality control standards. How many of these standards are there in total? 46. And are all 46 applicable for our exams? Yes, all 46 standards are applicable for our exams. Right? So few attempts back, only 36 were applicable. Then they made the additional 10 also applicable. So originally, if I give you a background, originally 46 were applicable. Then for some time they said, oh, these 800, 2000, 3000, no, not required. So they deleted it from the syllabus. Then they thought, no, these other standards also very important. So again, they introduced in the syllabus. So today the situation is that all the 46 engagement and quality control standards are applicable for your exams. Weightage in the exam is approximately or nothing less than 50 marks is what I can say. And a 50 to 55, sometimes on the higher side, it could be even going to 60. Right? 55, 60, 55 marks on an average is the weightage for the standards in the exam. Obviously, when I'm talking about these 50 marks, it is the MCQ and the theory part of the paper put together. Okay, right. Apart from that, we have a very important chapter, which is the professional ethics and the liabilities of the auditor. Okay, right. So generally from this particular chapter, in the theory part of the paper, we see 3 questions, which could be 4 marks or 5 marks. So let me put it 12 to 13 marks in the theory part of the paper and 1 or 2 questions in the MCQ part of the paper, right? So approximately, let me say that, ethics chapter, what is the weightage in the exam? 15 marks, right? So again, minimum could be 10 and maximum could be 20, but yeah, on an average, weightage comes down to around 15 marks in the exams. Okay, and then apart from the standards, apart in the standards, along with the standards, we also have a discussion regarding the risk assessment and internal control. So let me write down the full term over there. It is the risk assessment and the internal control. Right, so discussion regarding the risk-based audit approach, internal control, internal check, the international internal control framework, the methods for evaluation of control, benefits of evaluation and all of that. And second, we also have the discussion over there regarding the reporting under the Companies Act 2013. So Companies Act 2013, one, we discussed section 143, right? The duties of the company auditor, rights and duties. And second, we also have the discussion regarding the CARO 2020. Right, in CARO, we have the discussion regarding the applicability of the CARO, in case of which company's auditor you need to do the CARO reporting. And second, we have for the discussion the 21 clauses of the CARO 2020. Right, so again, generally one question in the theory part and one question in the MCQ part of the paper. So CARO specifically has the weightage of one question or 5 to 7 marks in the exam. You never know your attempt, there could be 10 marks of CARO, there could be 0 marks of CARO. So the only thing that is predictable about ICAI is that it is totally unpredictable. Okay, right. So to tell you in a summary, one part of the discussion which we have in our syllabus is the standards and the ethics. Along with standards, we also study regarding the risk assessment, internal control, and the reporting under the Companies Act. And then also we have the discussion regarding the ethics, right? So this is one part of the syllabus. Okay. Apart from that, we have a lot of other chapters. In CA Intermediate, you would have studied something called as audit of hotel, audit of of club, audit of cinema hall, audit of educational institution, audit of NGO, audit of charitable institution. Like now over here we have something called as DA. Oh my God, what is DA? DA is digital auditing and assurance. Like, earlier days this chapter used to be automated environment, special aspects of auditing in an automated environment. Now it is high tech, it is digital auditing and assurance, wherein we talk about the metaverse and then also the augmented reality and the virtual reality and the remote audit and the next generation audit and the cyber attacks and the IT dependencies and so. Okay, right. Then we have another audit over there, which is the group audit, which is nothing but the audit of the consolidated financial statements. So, the other day on ChatGPT, I said that please generate an image for group audit. So what it did, it created a big table, and on the table, lot of people are sitting and doing the group audit. So I was like, oh my God. Like, once that particular joke had come, that please generate, not joke, fact about what do you say, ChatGPT had come originally when it was hallucinating a lot, that, please generate an image of Mother Teresa fighting against corruption. So it showed Mother Teresa and a person, a malnutrition child, and they fighting with each other. So, something like that happened for group audit also. Then I told it, that group audit is audit of consolidated financial statements and all. So then it was better in generating the image. Okay. Right, so then that is the group audit. Then after the group audit, we have the chapter regarding the bank audit and the NBFC audit, right? So two more chapters over there, 14A, 14B, bank audit and the audit of the NBFCs, the non-banking financial companies, right? So banking companies and non-banking financial companies. Then we have the chapter on the PSU audit. Can you believe it? What happened in May 25 exams? Like, in PSU audit, there is one audit called as performance audit. In that performance audit, there is one subtopic regarding the planning for the performance audit. In that planning for the performance audit, there are the steps given which are required to be performed while planning the performance audit. Okay. And now Institute, when they drafted an MCQ, they made a question. Okay, randomly, they gave the steps for planning the performance audit, and they say, can now arrange these steps for planning the performance audit in the right sequence, and A, B, C, D, which of the below is the right sequence? And then, like they was like, oh my God, by difficulty, I'd somehow remembered the steps, but I don't remember the sequence of the steps over there. I always used to tell in my classes that, like advantages or something, you can change the sequence. Like if it's a question on advantages of remote audit, can I write the points up and down? Yes. But when it comes to steps, like, steps in a sampling plan, or like when it comes to planning for performance audit, what are the steps, or what are the steps in investigation there, or what is the process of forensic accounting? There, can I change the sequence? No. There you cannot change the sequence. It has to be done in the same sequence. So advantages, no problem. Can I write it up and down? Yeah, that will be okay. Right, so we have the PSU audit. Then after the PSU audit, we have one more audit over there, which is the internal audit, right? So internal audit. Then after that, a chapter in which 3 topics are covered together, which is the due diligence, investigations, and the forensic accounting. Right? Due diligence, investigations, and the forensic accounting. Then we have the ESG and the SDG assurance, right? That is the emerging areas, the upcoming areas. So wherein we mainly talk about the BRSR, the integrated reporting initiatives of ICAI, ESG, the pillars of the ESG, environment, social governance, and so. Okay, the sustainable development goals. Okay, right. So these are the other chapters which we have in our syllabus. Right, so like we have the digital audit, then after that the group audit, then the bank audit, NBFC audit, PSU audit, internal audit, due diligence, investigation, forensic accounting, ESG, SDG, assurance. Okay, and then apart from that, I've already told you, we have the engagement and quality control standards, plus the discussion on risk assessment and internal control, and the discussion on the Companies Act, right, section 143 and the CARO 2020. Right, so section 143 and rather 143.11 talks about CARO, right? So CARO 2020. Then apart from that, we have the discussion regarding the professional ethics and the liabilities of the auditor. Okay, right. So now is it coming to your mind out of this what I have studied, what I have not studied, like what have I done right and wrong? Is some reality check happening for all of you? Okay, this is the syllabus. Okay, more or less, if I put it all together, this is the syllabus for CA final audit. Okay, ma'am. So, you said 50 marks is coming from the standards, 15 marks is coming from ethics. So 65 marks of the paper is covered over here. So what you mean to say is 35 marks is coming from here. Right? Generally, digital auditing assurance, one question coming in the exam. Generally, one question. I have to be, like how an emphasis of matter paragraph we write, our opinion is not modified in respect of this matter. So you have to be very clear in your communication. Okay, right. So yeah, digital audit, generally one question. Group audit, again, generally one question. Bank audit, almost every exam there is one question. Like group audit, I can say it's a visiting chapter. Sometimes the question comes in exam, some attempt it may not come. But bank audit is quite regular. Every attempt you see a question. Generally in every attempt, you see a question coming regarding the bank audit in your exams, right? So one question, rare possibility that there could be two questions or so. NBFC, again, whenever it comes, one question. PSU audit, one question. Internal audit, again, a visiting chapter. Whenever a question comes, it could be one question. Due diligence, investigation, forensic accounting, either one or two questions. Like they could ask a question on forensic accounting and due diligence, or only forensic accounting, only investigation, something like that. And again, this chapter is doing pretty well. At least one question coming in the exam from this one. It's an upcoming chapter. So these are like new arrivals in the syllabus. Digital auditing assurance and the ESG SDG assurance. So we see one question over a period of time. The entire content of the chapter is moving into the question bank, and slowly and gradually they are asking one question over there. Okay, right. So yeah, that is the weightage of these other chapters. And yeah, apart from that, when they make those integrated case scenarios, you never know, they'll put 1 point from the PSU audit, one from the ESG SDG assurance, something regarding NBFC, something regarding ethics, and then 1 point regarding the SA 265. And something like that. It's an integrated case scenario. So some mix and match they will do and ask the questions over there. Right. Right? Is it good? Listening to me? When you're listening to me, when you're attending audit class, that's the only thing you are doing in your life. There's always a risk that when you're doing the audit class, and if it so happens that you are distracted, I might pounce out of your screen and, probably stand in front of you over there and say, what are you doing? Your audit class is going on and what's wrong with you? Okay, so you better be careful, right? So you just make it a point that the only thing what you are doing when you're attending listening to any faculty, any classes for that matter, that's the only one task you are performing that time. Your audit ka material, your lecture in front of you, no disturbance zone. That's the dedication required, because we don't want you to be a student for a very long period of time. Enough of the student journey now. It's time to become a professional. Okay, right. Then, ma'am, then what one question weightage should I do? Should I not do? Let institute only answer this particular question. Say example, question number 2 and 3 in the exam. And then A, B, C and A, B, C. Just creating a random example over there. Say question number 2, A is on CARO, 2B is on bank audit, and 2C is regarding the digital auditing and assurance. Done. Okay, question number 3A is regarding the ethics. Question number 3B is regarding the ESG, SDG assurance. Say they asked you some principle 8 over there. And then this question over there is regarding the NBFC audit. So it's just randomly I'm writing something over there. Okay, now it says question number 1 is compulsory and answer any 4 from the remaining 5 questions. So you have to select. Okay, now look at the challenge. Okay, you say, ma'am, I have done CARO, I have done bank audit, but the offer is buy 2, get 1 free. If you want to write the answer on CARO, you want to write the answer on bank audit, mind you, you have to write the answer on the digital auditing and assurance. Like you say, ma'am, ethics is so favorite, so near and dear. I really like ethics a lot. But ma'am, ESG, SDG, I did not do. NBFC also, I don't now. No, your to offer is buy one, get two free. The question paper is not like, these are 25 questions and answer any 20 questions out of that. You could have become a chartered accountant earlier in that case. Life is easy, no ABC, no additional, what do you say, complementary questions coming along. I can just independently select what I want. But that's not the case. And that's exactly not the case. So this is the reason. So I've given you a justification. I've given you an explanation. Okay, why we cannot leave any particular chapter in option. This is the reason. This is one reason. And second reason is that integrated case scenario where they make the mix and match, right? Where they make the mix and match over there. So apart from that, you are the best people to decide. It's your time. So you can decide, next whether you want to continue with your journey of what did they say? Earlier it used to be May, November, but now it is Jan, May, September, Jan, May, September, Jan, May, September, then a winter break, then Jan, May, September. So you need to decide. So don't take any risk. That's the best thing. So if you're studying right now for 8 hours, extend it to 12 hours, 14 hours. Burn the midnight oil right away. And don't give any opportunity to ICAI to make you go and fit into the category of the 80%. Because right now, by not doing anything or by doing anything less, of the 80%, no, like approximately 20%, 20 approx average, it could be 12, it could be 21, 22 sometimes, but yeah, 15 to 20% is the result. So right now you are in the majority category. You'll continue to be in that category if you don't take the steps in the right direction and bring yourself into the minority. Okay, right. So this is what I could be saying from my side. Okay, right. As regards the material, right. So we have launched these 3 books. One, we have the theory notes, so theory notes are there where the entire theory, what you need to know regarding audit. So there are zero is like the list of the standards and abbreviations, right? So 0 and then 1 to 19 chapters, the entire content of the chapter given in this particular notes, right? Then the second book that we have is the Q&A scanner, like, the entire ocean, not a pond or a lake, an ocean of all the questions released by ICAI till date, with the question, with the entire answer being given over there in a wonderfully formatted way, right? So all the mock test paper, model test paper, then the RTP, the suggested, the question paper, institute study material, you name it, it could be a 1991 question or it could be a 2027 question, whichever, like, all the question and answers have been included in this particular book. Right? So that is the question and answer scanner. And then obviously your preparation for audit is incomplete without studying from the MCQ compiler, because you need to develop the knack. You have to, set your skills, sharpen your skills on, deciding or finalizing on the final answer. Okay, you're finalizing the answer. Okay, A is the correct option. No confusion between or no confusion between B and D or something. So you have the clarity and the confidence in solving the MCQs. Okay, right? So that is the MCQ compiler. So these are the 3 products which are available. Right now, when I'll be teaching, I'll be making use of the theory notes while teaching you. My suggestion to you, if you have any other author book, wonderful, you can continue to follow that. But right now, if I'm saying that when you listen to the class, then you go through the theory notes, then related, like say example in the class, we've covered NBFC audit. So NBFC audit, you've got the entire crux of the discussion over there. Then you read the theory notes. Then you want to make any notes on your own in your notebook, you make that. You go to the question and answer scanner. There you come to the NBFC chapter. You see all the question and answers which have been asked so far by ICAI related to this NBFC, all MTP, RTP, all put together. And then you also see, like, there is a separate chapter on the NBFC MCQ. So you see all the MCQs related to the NBFC chapter. And then there are some 50, 60 integrated case scenarios. So once you are like halfway, because now the integrated can come from any part of the syllabus, right? So you just randomly, after you complete 50% of the syllabus, you start doing two integrated case scenarios every day. Then probably it might happen that, oh, this is regarding digital audit, I've not covered. So keep it pending. Like you can put a dot and circle, and you know that this topic is pending. You can put it in pencil so that you can erase it later. Okay, so yeah, procrastination, finding reasons not to study, very easy. Making it a point that you start studying, very creative, very disciplined, very intelligent. Okay, right. So, yes, so I'll be starting the discussion of the class with ethics. Right, so I'll complete the entire discussion regarding the ethics. Then after the ethics discussion, I'll come to the discussion on the other chapters, right? So that is all the digital audit up to ESG, SDG assurance, right? The list which I had made over here, right? So all these chapters I'll cover in the discussion, and then I will come to the discussion regarding the standards, the engagement and the quality control standards. Okay, right? So for you, it doesn't matter. You have been given the Excel file, you have been given the timestamp of when which particular lecture is there. Like lecture number 1 is regarding introduction, lecture number 2 is regarding ethics, lecture number 3. So it has been given to you. So you say, no, ma'am, I want to study standards first. Wonderful. So you go to those particulars. So it doesn't matter. You don't have to listen to the classes in the same sequence in which I am recording. So you say, I want to study standards first. Wonderful. You say, ma'am, these other chapters, I've heavily neglected them. First, let me study those. So wonderful. You study those. Make it a point that you study all with equal concentration and effort. It should not happen as per like, when you began with, you were like very disciplined, very attentively, you were going back and listening again, you were making the notes, you saw the question answer, MCQ, and then after that, Aarti ma'am is running on the screen as if, cats and dogs are running behind her, you're just forwarding me ahead and ahead. Don't do that. Okay, right? So no, you do anything like, you have fun with the classes right now, it will be fun with the result, right? So that should not be the case. Okay, so maintain the discipline. Like what discipline you had while listening to lecture number 1. Right now also, I know you're sitting like this, oh, she's giving introduction, oh, she's talking all this, oh, okay, then she'll start, oh, why, from where you got so much attitude? This is the way you sit for your, always there has to be a police inspector thing always. You say, ma'am, how you came to know? I know everything. I can tell the entire story of your life right now. But you've paid right now for me to teach you audit and not to tell about the story of your life. Okay, right? But yeah, what do you say? I cannot stop myself in between and putting a reality check in front of all of you. Okay, that's you're super genius. Your generation, you are so smart, you are so independent. There's so much of clarity in your thought. It's just that you need to channelize it in the right direction. Okay, so that's there is like no boundary to what all you can achieve in your life. Okay, right. So this is from my side for the introduction batch or introduction for the CA final audit marathon batch, right? So once again, I thank you as well as congratulate you for taking this decision for, listening to the audit classes, and see you again in the next class wherein I will start with the discussion regarding the ethics. Signing off, Aarti Lahoti. Bye-bye.